Okay, you are getting ready to start the last assignment for the simulation in assignment 7. I'm sorry for all the background noise, but I'm in a coffee shop right now and I wanted to get this done for you guys so you could finish successfully. The first thing it says here that you need to make sure that your system date is December 31st. Now we are getting ready to do our adjusting entries. So we want to pull up in the general ledger module, we want to pull up our general journal, and we are going to record adjusting entries for the following adjustment information. Where you were, this is typically, so you have to go back to chapter 15 and review, but typically these merchandise inventory, office supplies, and prepaid insurance, these are the values that should end up on your balance sheet. So in the first one, we are going to have uncollectible accounts expense is estimated at 2.5% of the sales on account of $117,816.37. So you're going to take that number, multiply 2.5%, and that gives you $294.54. So we're going to go ahead and journalize that here by adding a new entry. This, according to your instructions, says we are going to enter adjusting entry, add ADJ ENT in the reference column for each journal entry. Okay, and then my account number, and again, if you don't remember your account numbers, you need to go back into chapter 15. But this one is going to be uncollectible accounts expense for $294.54, and our credit is going to be allowance for uncollectible accounts, $294.54. That is the first transaction. Now, the next one, I will go through the process, but then it's going to be the same thing for supplies inventory, for office, store, and value of prepaid insurance. So we need to do an entry. I need to post. Right. Now what I need to do is I need to pull up the trial balance. And I want to look at my main balance on January 31st that I added to merchandise inventory. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and my difference is 95 cents. Because I added, I'm going to disregard that negative sign there, but because I added debit, this one is a credit, I'm going to let you go look and figure that one out. So this is going to be my second entry. I'm going to put in merchandise inventory as my debit. And then I want you to look up what your credit would be. You will proceed in this manner with office supplies, inventory, storage supplies, inventory, and value of prepaid insurance. Then we have our annual depreciation expense office equipment and store equipment. These numbers that they have as in our adjusting information are the actual numbers that you're going to put in the entry. So again, you're going to need to look in chapter 15 to see the account titles that are affected with that. Okay, after doing that, you are going to move on to instruction 3. Now, I really need you to pay attention here. You need to now display the income statement. And that's going to, and you're going to go to your income statement and the net income from operations, which is before your taxes. All right. What I want you to do is I want you to make sure that it's $130,123.76. You need to make sure that it's that before you move on. All right. Then we are going to record the transactions to get the federal income tax account to its final amount calculated at the following rates. So at this time, I want you to stop and I want you to get out a piece of paper and your calculator. So we have made $130,000 and $130,123.76. On our first $50,000, we are going to be taxed at a 15% rate. So in your calculator right now, I want you to put in 50,000 times 15%. And then take the answer to that number and write it down on a piece of paper. Now, we jump up to the next 25,000 because we have exceeded 75,000 in net income. Again, remember we have 130,000. So at this time in your calculator, you're going to put 25,000 times the tax rate of 25%. Take the answer and write it underneath the sum that you got in the previous calculation. So now you should have two numbers written on your paper. The next point here, we have 100,000. We have at least 100,000, so we've jumped up in increments of the next 25,000. Well, at this point, we've come to our next bracket, which is anything above 100,000 and then up to 335,000. Well, we're in this range here. So what I want you to do is I want you to take $130,123.76 and subtract 100,000. Take that answer times 39%. And this will be your fourth number that you write it down on a piece of paper. Now stop this video and I want you to add up those four numbers. That is the value that we should have to pay in federal income tax. Now, you're going to take that number that you've just added up, the sum of the four numbers, and you're going to go back to your general journal. You are going to now insert Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take the sum of those four numbers and go back to your general journal. When you get to your journal entry, this is going to be another adjusting entry, and you are going to take the amount that you calculated. So it should be around 33,000 that we have already paid into federal income tax, 32,000. So take the sum of the four numbers that you calculated, which is 33,000 and something, and subtract it from the 32,000. Write that number down. Now that number becomes your adjustment that you are going to record in the general journal. So now you're going to go back to your tasks tab. You're going to go down to your general journal and you are going to record your federal income tax expense as a debit and your federal income tax payable as a credit. And the number that you are recording, again, is the difference between this number and the number that you added up your four numbers. So this number is lower than what you had when you calculated the four numbers. And I'm being very vague because I want you to actually do the calculations. Now, in step number 4, you are going to pull up your source document here, and you are going to compare it with your federal income tax or your trial balance. Once you compare all of your accounts and your total for your adjusting or for your trial balance, you're going to go on to step 5. I want you at this time now to display your income statement, and I want you to print income statement, and then I want you to upload it to the Canvas assignment that says authentic. Then you are going to go to your retained earnings. You're going to print, you're going to save it as a PDF, you're going to save it as retained earnings, and then again you will upload it. And this is similar, this is equivalent to like your statement of stockholders' equity. Finally, you're going to move on, or next, I should say, you're going to move on to instruction 9. You guys are going to love this. This is your closing entries. And yes, I said you're going to love this. You're going to go down to the on your task menu here, you're going to go down to closing entries. And what we're going to do is we are going to close out all of the temporary accounts that appear on our income statement. So you're going to generate your closing entries. It'll populate it for you. Isn't that so cool? And then you're just going to post them. So your closing entries are are journalized now. Push the post button. Very 7. So again,